Oh my God.
Ay,
¿Ah?
venía saliendo con...
They shot it up. Hey, who's this?
Hey, bro, phone the driver dead, folks.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah.
This girl got shot outside the car. And it went that many shots a night. That shit was up close, personal. Somebody made that girl come back outside, man. Stop playing me like y'all dumb.
That was a woman arguing back and forth with a man during a live stream in the middle of the night. Roughly 30 minutes after she signed off, someone was already waiting outside her own home. She never made it back through her front door. Watch this next clip. They put me in the ambulance. They were putting me onto the bed inside. While all that was happening, I kept asking them over and over, am I going to die? Am I going to be okay? Please, just tell me, am I going to die? This is the very same woman you just heard arguing. The difference is that this footage was recorded earlier, back when she survived being shot the first time and believed God had spared her life for a reason. Before we get into her story, let us begin with another case out of Chicago because it shows just how quickly a false story can spread after a rapper dies. To understand what happened in Chicago during the last week of October 2025, you first have to understand that there is an entire world in this city where a song, a caption, or even a location tag can get someone killed. This is the drill scene. And in the drill scene, your reputation and your physical safety are inseparable. Dropping a location is treated like signing your own death warrant. That was the environment these two people were living in. It also explains why, after they both died just 48 hours apart, half of the internet immediately decided that one of them had betrayed the other, despite having absolutely no proof. Let us begin with the woman because she was the one who got blamed, and she is the person this entire video is really about. Her name was Ariana Bosny, 26 years old, an aspiring Chicago rapper who performed under the name Griify.
No, he told you I'm the biggest, stacking all this blue cheese. I can't have my way. I'm cut shit off, act like you never knew me. Yeah, now who the goofy? I just took a flight to Cali for a day, picked up a two-piece on. No, these hoes for real, I just be on they coochie goofy.
She was from the South Side. She was a mother who was working to build her own path in music with tracks such as The Dish and Want All the Smoke.
No, he told you I'm the biggest, stacking all this blue cheese. I can't have my way. I'm cut shit off, act like you never knew me. Yeah, now who the goofy? I just took a flight to Cali for a day, picked up a two-piece on. No, these hoes for real, I just be on they coochie goofy.
Griify was not a major star yet, but she was determined to make a name for herself. She carried herself with confidence and proudly featured both her son and her role as a mother in her videos, alongside all the street-focused energy. In that world, that fearless, unapologetic attitude is exactly what makes strangers on the internet believe they know everything about your life and gives them the confidence to decide how your story should end. There is another reality about being a woman in that environment. Drill culture is built around men and their conflicts. A woman who raps with the same intensity, carries herself with the same toughness, and is connected to a man on the wrong side of a feud becomes an easy target in more ways than one. That was the position she found herself in before a single shot had even been fired. Here is the detail that became important once everything went wrong. Griify was reportedly connected through her child to a rival Southside rapper known as 757BA, and he was already behind bars. He had been arrested back in 2024 and charged in connection with a separate murder from 2017. Her personal life placed her on the opposite side of a divide from some very dangerous people. In Chicago, that divide is not just a figure of speech. It can determine who lives and who does not. Now, to the man on the other side of this story. His name was Devanshi Collier, 35, and he was known to the world as THF Bazoo, sometimes simply called Zoo. If Griify was still trying to rise, Bazoo was already an established figure. He grew up in the Cabrini Green projects, was a longtime affiliate of Lil Durk's Only the Family Collective, and was a close friend of the late King Von. Listen to him describe where he came from in his own words. Cabrini Green.
Yeah, I was born in the Greens. I grew up in the Greens. You know what I'm saying? I got a name out there too. Like, you know what I'm saying? I got a chance to get in the field, but I was just doing bad shit. These little baby kids, you feel me? I came southbound when I was like mid-teens. My OG always been out south, so I've been knowing all my brothers that's from out south since I was a puppy, you feel me? My grandma still stayed up north. And my OG moved southbound when they knocked our building down, you feel me? So She been out there damn near all our life, you know?
Bazoo did not come from an easy life, and he never tried to hide that reality. He openly shared the story of one of his brothers, who died at a young age after being shot in the head at home. He also spoke about having to wash his brother's body himself and prepare him for the funeral services.
Well, he was in the house, the gun accidentally went off and shot in the head or whatever, you know what I'm saying? That's how he passed away. So like, wasn't nobody in my family, as far as the immediate family, who was strong enough to bathe them and wash them up and get them prepared for the services or whatever. So like, that experience stuck with me for the rest of my life. Like, I never experienced doing all that myself, but I had to get him out of the freezer at the morgue and wash the blood out his dress and put cotton swabs where the bullet hole came, the entrance and the out. Like, I had to wash him up. Like, I had to experience it, man. My right hand man got it, you know what I'm saying?
By his own account, he spent more than a decade of his life in and out of prison, beginning while he was still a juvenile. In 2014, he was arrested at Lil Durk's home in connection with a 2009 murder, but he was ultimately cleared of the charges. He beat case after case and wore those victories like a badge of honor. He became so familiar with dealing with the police that he understood just how ruthless the system could be. One of his biggest songs was inspired directly by beating a case. Around the same time, both he and King Von were cleared of murder charges. They celebrated the outcome and turned the experience into a song. That single moment captures the world they lived in. Two young men beat murder cases, were flown out to celebrate, and transformed that experience into a hit record. It is also what makes Bazoo such a difficult person to tell a straightforward story about, because, in that same final major interview, he became more reflective. He spoke about being exhausted by the pointless violence in the streets and about wanting to guide young people away from following the same path. Listen.
The senseless kids, the little kids, the women, the old people getting bars the streets, man. The streets gonna be the streets. That shit will clean itself up. You get what I'm saying? If it go this, if do call peace, bro, it might be peace for so on forth. Ain't nothing wrong with putting the effort. Don't it overnight. You get what I'm saying? Ain't nothing wrong with putting effort in. You know what I'm saying? But like, we got to go back to the world wars and shit when the war's been going on, gang. Like, this shit has been going on periodically with society anyway, you feel me? It's always pushing this black on black crime. Half of these niggas that's out here calling themselves sliders and drillers don't even know the beef probably sparked over some shit that they don't even know about. They just inherited their homies beef because they done lost older people in the generation and don't even know what they lost them over, gang. Like, war gonna be war. Shit get kicked off any blue moon, you know what I'm saying?
By the time of that interview, he had buried more people than most of us ever will. He had lost a brother whose body he personally washed and prepared with his own hands. He lost his grandmother while he was sitting in a jail cell. And in one of the most heartbreaking parts of his story, he lost his young daughter, a baby, in an incident he said he never received real answers about while he was incarcerated. He carried the weight of every one of those losses, and that is a major reason he spoke the way he did about children and the senseless violence in the streets. He was not preaching from a church pulpit. He was speaking as a man who had already paid that price again and again. He and King Von shared a bond that went back years before either of them became rappers. Von was like the younger brother, the storyteller. When Von was killed in 2020, it took something from Bazoo that he never truly got back. That is the common thread running through this entire Chicago world. Nearly everyone in it has already lost someone, which is exactly why so many of them struggle to let anything go. Despite everything he had been through, in his final in-depth interview, Bazoo said he wanted to reach the youngest kids before the streets reached them first. Watch the advice he left behind, because hearing it now carries a very different weight.
Streets don't love no man. If you're gonna do this shit, don't hide 1 foot in and 1 foot out, man. If you in school, stand on top of your business first. That's law, y'all, man. Stand on top of them grades, graduate, and be able to try to hide anything, any type of backup, gang. All that dropping out, all that getting locked up as a puppy, that shit I did, man. I don't want to follow in my footsteps just to feel like they want a name or they want to be powerful, man. You could be powerful with knowledge, man. I just want all y'all to focus on whatever y'all is and do it at y'all best, whatever it is that y'all focus on, man. Don't half step whatever you're doing. I don't give a fuck if it's rapping, if it's drawing, flipping, thugging in public, whatever you're doing, be your best at it, man. And don't let no dictate your pace. That's all I gotta tell the shorties, man. Pursue all your dreams. Stand on top of business, man. Don't let the business stand on you, man. Ain't no question.
Show that. Any shout outs or closing remarks you would like to leave the people?
Shout out to my family, man. Yeah, that love me. Y'all know it's peaceful with the Whopper, man. I'm chilling. I'm cool. In my bag, man. Don't motherfucker get my lane. I ain't gonna run them over. That's it. That's all. So no.
Any upcoming music? What's the one you just dropped? The murder story.
I just dropped the story, man. That motherfucker probably like 178,000 in 2 weeks. You feel me? Really no promotion, no marketing. Just drop that bitch on. You know what I'm saying? They've been waiting on me, but you know what I'm saying? I've been holding back, y'all, because I was fighting a legal situation on the band, and I ain't want to be shooting no videos inside my household and shit. You know what I'm saying? So I was really waiting to get up off the shit. Now that I'm free, man, I'm gonna be flooding y'all with this shit, putting y'all shit, this shit in y'all face, man. We unstoppable and can't be with, man. Ain't no question. THL, Lil Law, who else for this rap that's in the building?
So, you have these two people, both deeply connected to the same violent and complicated Chicago rap scene. On one side was a woman trying to build her career, connected through her son to one side of a deadly rivalry. On the other was a veteran who had survived nearly everything the streets had thrown at him, and, at least on camera, spoke like a man who genuinely wanted peace. During the final days of October 2025, both of their names would begin trending for the worst possible reason. Almost immediately, the internet decided that the woman was responsible for the man's death. That conclusion spread quickly. It spread loudly, and it was made with almost no evidence to support it. Here is how those 48 hours actually unfolded, in the exact order, so you can judge for yourself just how weak the story people accepted really was. It began with Bizoo. On October 25th, 2025, at around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, he was in a parking lot in the Little Village neighborhood, in the 3100 block of South St. Louis Avenue. He was there with two other men, and according to some reports, they were picking up car parts. Then a vehicle pulled up. At least one gunman got out, and they opened fire. This was not a random drive-by shooting. Police recovered approximately 20 rifle casings and 19 9mm casings at the scene, with 5 vehicles struck by gunfire.
Bezoo just got shot, man. He just got shot on the southwest side of Chicago, man. He was shot in the abdomen, died amongst one of the other members, and a family member. You know what I'm talking about? I don't know if basically Bezoo and Critical, or he played for us, the other two, but Bezoo definitely had got was basically 100 that was basically fired at them, so that was a switch. Basically what was reported was somebody had spotted Bezoo and them, you know what I'm saying, and bent the block and came back around and fire on them, you know what I'm talking about?
Bizoo was shot in the abdomen and torso. He was rushed to Mount Sinai Hospital, but he did not survive. 2 other men were also injured. The amount of firepower used at close range, in a location where he was not known to spend time, strongly suggests that this attack had been planned. Someone knew where he would be and had positioned themselves in advance. Remember that word, planned, because it is the key to understanding the rumor that spread next. Bizoo's own reputation also played a major role in how people reacted to the shooting. In the world he came from, he had a long history and no shortage of enemies. Listen to the street reporters. Even as they offer prayers, they openly acknowledge the unspoken reality of how someone can end up with that many people wanting him dead.
Gone.
That's why it's not good to diss, because if you out here dissing, you know what I'm talking about, you don't know where that fire can come from.
Bizoo spent virtually his entire adult life just one step away from a moment like this. Watch officers remove him from a vehicle during one of his arrests, with gun charges hanging over him, and notice how calm, composed, and razor-sharp he remains throughout the entire encounter.
I ain't going nowhere. Bro, my name is Devontae Charlie, bro. I ain't got nothing to hide, big bro. All I want to do is talk to you, son. Get in the car. I want to talk to you.
We're going to talk in the station.
I want to go to the station.
Right now, right now, it's either going to be a misdemeanor or a felony. How are you going to act, bro? How are you going to act? Get in the car, and we'll talk in the station.
His death also became part of a much larger and sadder pattern. Bizoo was closely connected to Lil Durk's circle, and that group had been suffering losses for years, with King Von killed in 2020 and others dying both before and after. By the time Bizoo was killed, people were openly referring to it as a curse hanging over everyone connected to that camp. At the same time, Durk himself was in federal custody and unable to speak publicly. Within his own circle, the grief was overwhelming, but so was the emotional numbness. One affiliate spoke about how this entire generation has become desensitized to death. Meanwhile, across the city, rivals were celebrating online, laughing and raising a toast to what had happened. That contrast, real mourning on one side and real celebration on the other, captures the drill scene in its purest form. It was also the pressure cooker that Griafai's name was about to be thrown into. Then, about 48 hours later, the second killing happened, and this is where everything became twisted. On October 27th, during the late afternoon, Griafai was stopped at a traffic light near 76th and Vincennes in the Greater Grand Crossing area when a vehicle pulled up beside her Chevy Cruze and opened fire. Her young son was inside the car with her. He was physically unharmed, but imagine what that child witnessed. It is a miracle that he was not struck by the gunfire. Griafai was hit multiple times and was pronounced dead at the University of Chicago Medical Center. A 26-year-old woman was gunned down at a red light in front of her own child. 2 rappers, 2 days, 1 city, and the internet responded the way it so often does. Within 24 hours, a simple narrative had taken hold. The claim was that Griafai had shared Bazoo's location, tagged the junkyard where he was attacked, and that her own murder was retaliation. The story spread across blogs such as Sandra Rose and street-focused pages like Daily Chirac. By October 28th, it was everywhere, collecting thousands of likes. People shared it as though it were an unquestionable fact. Now, this is where you have to slow down and actually examine the evidence, because the story falls apart the moment you look closely. First, nobody ever produced a screenshot. Not one. For an accusation built entirely on the claim that she posted his location, no one was ever able to show the alleged post, even after people searched through all of her social media accounts. Second, the man people connected to her through her child, 757 BA, was already in jail on that separate murder case, with no ability to direct anything from the streets. Third, and this is the most important point, Bazoo's killing was a carefully planned ambush. The people who attacked him had already positioned themselves at the exact location before he even arrived. That level of planning does not come from a location tag that a woman supposedly posted a few hours earlier. It comes from monitoring someone's movements over an extended period of time. There was also a devastating human cost that became completely overshadowed while people argued online. A little boy watched his mother being shot to death at a red light, then had to grow up hearing the entire internet label her a rat. The reason the rumor spread so quickly is deeply rooted in this culture. In the drill scene, revealing someone's location is considered one of the worst betrayals imaginable, essentially signing that person's death warrant. The accusation was sensational enough that people wanted to believe it. But wanting something to be true is not the same as it actually being true. The timeline was too short. The ambush was too carefully planned. And the one man who supposedly could have orchestrated it was already behind bars. The street reporters who genuinely cover this scene eventually came forward and shut the rumor down themselves. The channels with the strongest credibility on the ground stated plainly that the ambush had nothing to do with Griafai. Some even suggested a completely different theory, pointing to other people around her rather than to Griafai herself, although that theory also remains unproven. For their part, Chicago police investigated the 2 killings as separate homicides with no official connection between them. As of the latest reporting, no arrests had been made in either case. So, a young mother was murdered in front of her son, and on top of that, thousands of strangers spent the first days after her death calling her a snitch who deserved what happened, all because of a screenshot that never existed. This is the first time in this video that the internet condemned the wrong person. It will not be the last. The next case is even worse because the false accusation lasted for more than a year. Now we return to Alabama, to the woman you saw at the very beginning. This story is going to feel disturbingly familiar because, once again, it involves a live stream, a rumor, and a rush to blame the wrong person before anyone had any proof.
Birmingham police asking for your help to find whoever this young woman, Mia Nixon, back in January. Investigators say her family is hurting and pushing for justice in her case.
Our Tristan Rupert is live at 5 and on your side, talking with investigators about this case. Tristan, what can you tell us?
Police believe Mia Nixon was targeted, actually, and they say community help could be critical in them solving this case. I spoke with Birmingham police officer Truman Fitzgerald earlier today. He says detectives have looked into every single lead they could. really concerning this case, and that a tip from the community could be critical in really cracking it wide open. Now, Officer Fitzgerald says Nixon was beloved, talented, and really excelling in the hair and nail field. He says Birmingham police won't stop searching for the person responsible for her death, and stresses no matter the information, you need to come forward if you know something.
Nothing's too small. We know the streets are talking. We know Mia was extremely popular, but our detectives need that information. So anything you have, please call that into Crime Stoppers.
Remember, Crime Stoppers is a fully anonymous process. No matter what your information is, they never know your identity. And if you do provide information that leads to an arrest in this case, you could be eligible for a $5,000 reward.
Her name was Mia Nixon, a 21-year-old from Birmingham. I want to approach her story carefully and fairly because there are really two versions of Mia in this case. There is the woman the people who loved her actually knew, and then there is the version the internet created after she was no longer alive to speak for herself. Let us begin with the real Mia because she deserves at least that much. The real Mia was a talented nail technician. She began doing nails at the age of 17 while she was still in high school. She taught herself, struggled in the beginning to build a client base, and gradually grew her business through practice, affordable pricing, and relentless hard work.
Here I am, all packed up, ready to go. Yeah, boom. So here I ran to Mia. She was getting her hair done too because it was her birthday. So she had the real type of experience. So yeah, here I go. Just
in an interview she gave before any of this happened, Mia described doing nails as her safe place and her creative escape. She spoke about leaving traditional jobs so she could work for herself and pursue a cosmetology license. She was building a genuine brand, dreamed of opening her own salon, and even the Birmingham police officer who later appealed to the public for information described her in the same way the people closest to her did. He called her beloved, talented, and said she was excelling in the hair and nail industry. There is another part of her story that is almost difficult to believe. According to accounts shared through her own social media, Mia had already survived being shot once before this. The story she told was that bullets ripped through her car. One round left her deaf in one ear and blind in one eye, and she had to relearn everyday tasks while rebuilding the business she had worked so hard to create. It is important to be honest about one detail. These accounts of her surviving that earlier shooting come primarily from retellings of her own social media posts rather than official police records. So the specific details should be understood as her personal account. However, the audio of Mia speaking about that experience is genuine, and it becomes especially heartbreaking when you know how her story ultimately ends.